Hi everyone! So first of all, I'd like to say thanks for all the new subscriptions and comments and likes and views that I've been getting on my Mage videos. I really appreciate it, and you also seem to appreciate it, which is why I've decided to do a video on my Cathedral pulls in Scarlet Monastery. The way I like to do them is to pull Mograine as well, because that will, well, it's gonna make everything easier inside the actual Cathedral. I just went through my gear, and as you can see, it's not that great. As soon as I hit 60, what I started doing was spamming Scholomance for the Necropile set. And as soon as I got 4 pieces of Necropile, I was done in there. You do it for the plus 15 resistances. So what's gonna happen here is that he pulls, or she, I don't know, for some reason. And I'm still pretty much at full health and half mana, a bit less, so I decided to just go for it. Now, as you can see, what happens when you pull Mograine is that all the mobs starts running towards him inside the entire Cathedral, including these side rooms, which you normally never pull, meaning that you get maybe, I actually don't know, maybe 20 mobs more than usual in a Cathedral pull. And as soon as I have pulled Mograine, I blink out of the Cathedral, and then I just start gathering up the rest of the pulls. I like to Arcane Explosion there to get the mobs, the packs by the door, and then I just keep running. Here I like to just jump, because that saves me maybe half a second and increase the distance between me and the pack. Same thing here, and then I just keep running. I try and always keep up Ice Barrier and Frost Ward. The reason I keep Frost Ward up is because I don't want any of the Ice Barrier to be eaten up by spells, and also there is of course always a small chance of you getting a slow, and that's very timed, and the way you solve that is by blinking. So you want to save your blink, but also, we're gonna pause just a little bit here. As you can see, the entire pack is very close to me right now, and the only reason they aren't reaching me is because of this barrier here. So what happens is that as you run down here and you run along these corridors, they're just gonna streamline for you across this place, and they do more of like a hook move instead. So what you need, well, what's gonna happen is that as you get about here, they're gonna be intercepting you, and the way you fix that is by just blinking exactly in this corridor. But since I had already used blink out of necessity over here, because that's how you deal with a slow, I'm gonna have to use Frost Nova and Cone of Cold to try and save the situation, and that's gonna be happening successfully. I also had to apply my mana shield, which you generally want to avoid, especially when you basically don't have any mana. So as you might just noticed, I just removed the mana shield as well. But I managed to save it, and also right here is a reset point. Obviously you're gonna have a bit of a challenge line of sighting all the casters, but the melee mobs aren't going to reach you. So what happens when I jump here is that I gain another second, because everyone just stops and I can jump out of here, giving me some more distance to them. And here we have a few casters. Now when you're going across this plane, there is a chance that if you blink where I did, the casters are almost not gonna reach you. If you don't blink, you're gonna take a bunch of frost bolts. And if you get slowed, you save it the same way as usual with a blink. So I used my mana gem, I applied all the shields, and now I am going to ice block. So despite being low on mana, it went pretty well so far. We're gonna just try and break that in a good position and apply shield as soon as possible. Now that's a whole bunch of resist actually. I think it's 4 mobs and Mograine. And this is the hard thing about pulling Mograine, that, well, first of all, you're gonna pull more mobs, so there's gonna be more mobs that resist your Frost Nova, but you're also gonna have him hitting you all the time. Now, luckily, he can be slowed by Ice Armor, which is very useful because that slows down his attack rate and slows him down. And while I'm killing these off, by the way, I want to make sure that they hit 20% roughly up there, because what's gonna happen as they hit 20%, which they're doing now, is that they're gonna be running away, as those guys are. And if they hit 20% here, what usually happens is that you're gonna have to jump down and put a blizzard up there for the guys that are still going after you, and you're gonna have a whole bunch of people just run out into the pool, and later they're gonna, excuse me, hit you in the side. And if that happens with a lot of mobs, you should jump in and do like 2 or 3 arcane explosions, because that usually finishes them off. Now what I'm dealing with are the healers, which are very annoying. If you're in a really bad situation and a few of the casters are or have been killed, these healers might just heal themselves up to max because you don't have the mana to finish them off, and well, then you should probably just reset the pull. Personally, I think that you should always prioritize surviving, meaning I think it's better to reset the pull and live than to try and finish it when you're very obviously gonna die. Because it's so much more annoying to die than to just having to reset the pull. And as you can see right now, I'm finishing off the Mograine. However, what I think that you should do in this situation is blizzard down all the casters. Because what's going to happen is that as soon as I finish him off, all the casters are going to be and then they're going to be, well, they're not going to be grouped up like they are right now. But as you can see also, by the time you've finished off all the mobs, Mograine is almost gonna be dead. Now, to be honest, Mograine isn't that hard to deal with. He's pretty much like any other mob that's hitting you that you have to deal with, but since he can't be slowed by Blizzard, and especially since there is a small chance that he can stun you for 5 seconds, I think that has happened to me twice in maybe 30 runs, so it can happen, but I think what usually happens is that you just resist it. But unless you're stunned in a very favorable position, or you for some reason have Ice Block ready, you're probably gonna die from the stun. But the thing about this entire run is that it's a huge gamble, really. If you get 2 Frostbolts in a row slowing you, you're dead. And if you get slowed by a caster, because they have like a arcane slow as well, you're probably also dead, unless you have the PvP trinket, which you definitely should get. Now what I like to do when so we've just finished off all the mobs, what I like to do now is to grab the 4 mobs in here. And as soon as I grab those mobs, all the players or all my group members are gonna be running up here and looting all the stuff. So ideally they would be running by now, 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the pole, or into the dungeon, and I would just be juggling this pack back and forth. Now if there is a caster in that pack, as you can see there, you could probably kill them, because you're gonna have a source of mana. If there's not, I would recommend just kiting them around. But as you can see, my group members are slow, so this run is gonna be maybe a minute longer than it had to be. Doesn't really matter too much, but still. I think that was pretty much all the general things I had to say about this video. I might actually make a much longer version where I talk about every little detail that you have to think about throughout this pull, because right now I really just showed you how I'm doing stuff and not really explained everything. Some of the things that I'm doing, you know, they're just situational, coincidence almost, but some things are, well, are due to experience, because I know that if I don't do this one little thing, I'm just gonna die. And what I like to do is reserve all loot, well, all the greens, blues and epics for me, and then people can take anything else. I normally don't loot myself, because anything that's everything that's an item of uncommon quality or higher, they're just gonna be lootable by everyone and go on the group loot. So what's gonna be left is like 20 silk and some grays, which I don't really care too much about. It's not too much gold and it's probably not worth the time. But okay, this was a Cathedral one where I pulled Mograine and in and out in less than 7 minutes and 30 seconds. As you can see, I just brought up my kill count add-on and, well, obviously I've killed more than 0 people. What we're gonna do now is hop over to a clip where I actually have that kill counter active so we can see how much we kill. Okay, so there we have the kill counter, and I'm just gonna skip ahead most of this video. I wanna show you how to do the pull when you're not doing it by mistake. So, just a little bit more. a little bit. Okay, about here. So you can skip between these two packs by just running in between them. However, you're gonna have to jump to the side to skip these guys. Go in here, have your shields ready, and ideally have your mana gem ready as well. And then you just rank 1 Blizzard pull him. And then blink ahead, and you now have the full Cathedral hunting you. But anyways, this isn't what we are here for, so we're just gonna speed run through it. And about here is where the mobs have started dying, and as you can see, the kill counter is at 72, keeps going up. And in the end, we are going to have killed 87 mobs, which is, I think, maybe 20 mobs bigger than the normal pull you do. Also, there are still these 4 guys in here, so if we finish them off, then we're gonna be at 91 kills. But, you know, the difference between 87 and 91 isn't too big, really. So this was my way of doing the Cathedral pull. I'm going to make a video on how I do the arms pull as well. Armory I find is harder than Cathedral, actually way harder, but it's still very possible. But I think this was what I wanted to show you. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know, ideally on the stream, if you want me to make a more detailed run. I could probably show you that on the stream. Like I said, I've been getting so many comments lately that it's just gonna be messy trying to go through everything, and I think that is why I'm no longer notified by YouTube when I'm getting a comment. But anyways, with all this said, thank you all for watching. Thanks so much for all the attention I've been given due to my Mage videos. I hope you found this interesting, I hope you found this useful. Like I said earlier, I'm absolutely not the one who came up with the idea of doing these pulls and selling them for gold to give people experience. However, this was my way of doing them with a Mograine pull, which will give you a total of either 87 or 91 kills in Cathedral, which is pretty much. I think that for people in the ideal level, they're gonna get maybe 13,500 experience instead of 10,000, so that's a quite big difference. But with all this said, like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for, well, not missing the armory pull video. See ya!